Hi, and welcome to this amazing course lecture where we are learning about Angular. And today we are going to learn how we can make communication between a parent and a child component. And you got me correct, guys. It's using a at the rate input decorator. So let's go and see how we can do this in practicals. Who am I? I'm Siddharth Verma, senior software developer with full stacks hybrid app development experience over 6 years. Worked into a great MNCs, work as a freelancer, and also making amazing technical videos on YouTube. So let's go forward and see how we can do this in action. So first of all, you need to set up your development environment, and if you already have that, that's perfect. No matter if you are using a Mac OS or Windows, the installation is going to be similar in both the terms, and you will have the same development experience across the board. First of all, you need to go to nodejs.org and download the Node.js, whichever is the latest version for yourself. So let me just quickly rush to my browser, and I will type node download node.js. So here you will find nodejs.org, and from this LTS version just download whichever platform you need. Then once this is done, just open up your terminal, Windows plus R CMD, and just type node-v to check which version is installed on your system. This also indicates that the Node.js installation on your system was perfect. Now, once you have done this, I recommend you just open up your terminal and type npm install @angular latest CLI. This will install your Angular CLI. Just what you need to do, once you have opened up your terminal, type npm install @angular/CLI This command will install the latest CLI version, which is the command line interface for Angular, where all the commands related to Angular will work over here. So this will install Angular to your systems, and then you can just enjoy whatever the commands we will follow throughout this course video. So once that is done, just the next command would be to generate a new Angular app. So this thing I'm going to do with you guys. Just you need to do, just select wherever you want to place your development, this new app which we are going to create. Just select wherever you want to place that. I'm having so many folders over here, and here just open up your CMD and just type ng new GUI app, and this will ask you some questions, and these questions are generally with the help of what we just downloaded, Angular CLI. These questions were able to be asked because we already installed Angular CLI, and so the CLI is doing its job. So this will create a brand new Angular app, the latest version, and then just what you need to do, here we can see our GUI app, and here just open up the CMD and type code dot. And for this lecture, I'm using Visual Studio Code. No matters, you have to use the same text editor. You can use your own personal favorite. For me, it's the Visual Studio Code because it's free of source, and also I can download many of the extensions which help me in successful development. So once you have done all steps which are mentioned, just quickly rush to the source folder inside your app and this app.component.texture file. So bravo, you have done completed 30% of this video course, and now let's move to the next step. So how the communication between the Angular components occur. So basically, whenever we are talking about components which do share a relation between a parent and a child, mostly we use @input and @output decorators. So in programming languages like we have Java or we have Python, we generally use this at the rate as a decorator. We know this feature as a decorator. Similarly, in Angular also there is at the rate input and at the rate output decorators, which you can simply get from the at the rate Angular core. And for now, this video simply is teach you how at the rate input works. So let's try to see this with an example. So the syntax would be at the rate input, then you use the parenthesis. In between of this parenthesis, you can type your alias name, input variable name, and the data type. And this thing should reside inside the child component. And in the parent component, whenever you are calling that component using the selector, you can just simply do uh, you can use that input variable to your parent components selector, whatever HTML component selector you are using it. Just have this and you can pass on the value. Let me show you this by using an example. So first of all, let me check if everything installation is done. Yeah, the installation is done, and let's just fire up our browser. So I'm going to the terminal, and while you are on the terminal, just use ngserve, and this will boot the app, bootstrap the app, and fire up to your browser. So what I'm doing, just I'm now going to create a brand new component. So let's consider app.component.ts file is our parent component, and now I'm going to create a new child component. So I'm typing ng generate component and child. Okay, so inside this app folder, a new component will be generated, which is known as a child, and here you can see app child. So now in my app.component.typescript file, let me just call this app child. Perfect. I think this seems to be pretty much what we are used to do. Okay. So just let's go to this side what we have currently, and the port will be 4200. Let me spell this correct. And here, let me just zoom in a bit. You can see child component is there. Now what I need, I want button in the child component where I could just configure this so that I can use this according to my needs. Let me just try to make a button. Okay. And this button, now I need some title to be here. So let me just try to keep to string interpolation a title for this button. And now using the same syntax which I taught you, where input button title, okay, which is of type string, okay. And for now, this will be the default value will be click me, okay. So I think, and here, whatever you have write it down here, just place that thing over here. Let's save this and check what we are going to get. Yeah, we got this button click. Now this component holds a default value for the button title click me. But if I want to control this thing from my parent component, just I use this and give it a string value of just 1. And whenever I save this, you see this is what and how communication occurs from a parent to a child component. Just see this in action once more. Let me just over here. Yeah. Now you will be able to see this in action. From our app.component.typescript file, okay, from this, we just, what we did from our HTML file, we give it a input, and this input was received over here, and then this input was provided over here. So now this instance I can call how many times I want, doesn't matter, because each and every selector when we place in our HTML file, it has its own reference. So now you can see we have different inputs. Also, you can use this for styling also. Let me just show this to yourself. Here I'm now using some style dot background. Let me use some background color so that you can have some clear idea what I'm trying to do. So let's use this once more and button BG color. Okay, this is BG color, which is also going to be your type string, and default I'm using this as red. Or if you don't want any default value, just use this exclamation and this will say no default value initializer is required. Place this over here, and as soon as I save this file, you see all have their own respective color. But now if I want to change, let's say the color for test 4 button, the BG color is equal to PURPL purple. Let's save this and you see how input takes place in Angular and how the communication is so simple. But remember one thing, always while using the at the rate input decorator, the communication only takes place within a parent and child relationship. So this was how practical example we could do. Let's take one more example. Suppose we have similar child component which is known as app to do, and it requires an input name as to do title. So how we are going to provide it? On our parent component, we are going to use app to do, and the to do title we are going to provide the value. Easy. So aliasing also we can do, and the alias is simply like to this BG color. I don't want to use this big variable name. I just want to use this as BG. So this means now this can be easily known as BG. Okay. So this is what aliasing is. It's as simple as that. Still, I get the same color which I require. Okay. And also, when you want to use the at the rate input decorator, whenever your parent, as I told you, your parent component contains a child component, at that time you could configure that component. And another thing is like your component is a reusable component, you're using it commonly across your app and you want to configure it, you can use that at the rate input decorator. And also, when you want to make your component very customizable, like I'm making this, I can give it a title, I can give it a color, and so on things. Okay. So what's next? So this is how communication takes place between parent and child company using an at the rate input decorator. Also, communication is at the rate input is not only the way to communicate. We have dependency injections at the rate outputs, and a cool library which Angular supports totally is RxJS, where we have some different subjects and behavioral subjects where communication also takes place. We'll look at all the concepts in the next video. So thanks for watching, guys. We are done over here, and I hope you guys have a great learning ahead. Just remember, the best way to learn is simply practice that concept as much as you can, or simply don't try to memorize it. Try to compare this thing with your daily life routines. Some or the other concepts will definitely recite whatever routine you are following, and simply make an example from your daily routine and try to implement that in your app. So this is Siddharth Verma signing off, guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.